people who are going through bereavement. Bereavement is a very, very tough time. And now in dealing with situations like this, it's even tougher. It's even tougher because you can't go to your traditional mourning process. You can't go through your traditional process where you are spending time together. You hug everybody, you mourn together, and you just do our normal coping that we normally do when we go through bereavement and even hospitalization. The hospital process has changed as well. So just make sure we spend some time to take care of folks, to let them know that we care about them and that we love them and we be a friend. So when your time comes, you can have a friend. Because one thing I do know about this thing called life, you will need a friend at some point in your life. You're going to need somebody to lean a helping hand to, or a shoulder to cry on, or at least somebody to listen. So, as we go through these different processes, as we deal with, just life period, life is tough already. Pre-virus, life is tough. And then when in the current state of affairs that we have today, it's even tougher. So let's all continue to come together, continue to love each other, so that we can all help ourselves through this process. And then we're gonna get through this, just like we've gotten through everything else in the history of this world. Good spirited folks is always bonded together and work together to move our city, state, and nation forward, and it won't change now just because we're in this current state of affairs. We got a caller already. We ain't open the lines up. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. What's your question or comment?
Mr. Steph, I have something to discuss with you off the air. Can you,
Hold on one second. Let me take your number down, brother. What's the subject? Yeah, man, I'm a one man in the studio today, man. The coronavirus got us one man inside the studio. So I took your number down. It ends in 0911.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll give you a call after the show. All right.
All right, I'm gonna be in the meeting. Leave me a message. I'll call. I'm gonna be in the meeting.
All right.
Now we probably extend beyond your meeting.
Okay, good deal.
All right.
All right, brother. So, and as we start off all our shows, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate everybody for tuning in. We got some great sponsors. And when I say great sponsors, I mean absolutely great sponsors. Our first sponsor is Brother Micheal Jordan. They're with Micheal Jordan Transportation. They have a wonderful business. And I just got done, just hearing his whole story. We're gonna bring him on board next week to tell his whole story. But Brother Micheal Jordan over there at Micheal Jordan Transportation Services, they are primarily a service as a non-emergency transportation service, and they specialize in transporting senior citizens and individuals who are mobility and developmentally challenged to their appointments. In addition, we're a company that is also available to transport groups on trips for fun and relaxation that not only include mobility and developmentally challenged people, but any small groups. We realize with COVID-19 and the shelter in place being lifted, people will want to get out and relax their minds and just have fun. Nothing like a short trip to relax you. We can transport at least 10 in order to ensure social distancing. So please go to the website and contact us at www.mjstransportation1.com. That's www.mjstransportation1.com. And great business out there. We got great other great businesses out there. We're going to start promoting more and more businesses. We got a website that's launching as well. I want y'all, and Angelique, tell them about this business right here. You know something about this business?
I do. It's the oldest restaurant in Jackson, Mississippi. Been in business 80 years. My brother Gino is our family legacy that's running the Big Apple now. So please go support 2 locations, Fair Street and North State Street.
That's right. Go on over to Big Apple and get some of those smokes. I stay away from those pig sandwiches, but those smokes are definitely, you got to do it in moderation. But
yes.
It's always a good treat. So going over there and participating in that. Another good young brother over there on Fair Street, Herbal Blessings right there on Fair Street. go check that brother and sister out. They got a wonderful family, but they're doing great things for a lot of people to boost their immune system and just take care of your health and your life, because as we all know, health is vital. Health is critical to us moving forward, and you can't do anything unless you have proper health and proper nutrition. And another thing you can go out there and do is go over to Dr. Juice Cleanse right there on Lynch Street, right there on the corner of Lynch and Ellis. Go check out Dr. Juice Cleanse. They got a wonderful business over there. Everybody knows Ralph Malone, long time, good, solid brother, but now he's back trying to move the community forward through his business. So make sure you go out and check out Dr. Juice. And everybody, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Today's show, we're going to continue on the conversation we've been having for the last few weeks. We're going to continue to talk about symbols and substance. And we're going to give a quick update of the last council meeting that we just had on yesterday. It was a pretty long council meeting. We were there like 5.5, almost 6 hours. But, we started the meeting off. We elected Councilman Aaron Banks to be the president of the council, and Councilman Tillman is going to be the vice president. And for me, my goals for the meeting was to focus on some substantive issues. We focused on gerrymandering. As we talked about last week, gerrymandering is the reason we feel is that things don't get done as fast as they should. People say, well, why did it take so long to get the flag to come down? Well, I believe gerrymandering plays a large degree. And for those of you who don't know, gerrymandering is a practice that both parties use, political parties that is, to draw their political lines that they run in. And right now, we feel as though the city of Jackson and several other levels of government, it's just not the city, is gerrymandered. And you draw the district so you get the maximum votes, and you end up with, all Republicans in this district and all Democrats in that district, all majority white population in this district, majority black population in this district. Now it solidifies the politician, but the service and work product that comes back to the people, we feel is not where it should be. And that's why I say that we have to continue to work on doing the substantive things like gerrymandering that helps to balance out these constituencies so that people can get a deliverable back in return. We're trying to move away from as much as we can these, and the symbolic gestures are great. Taking down the flag, that was a historic moment, but we got to get back to the real issues of the city, the real issues of our state. We still got, deep, hard issues that we have to deal with, and we can't just yield to just the symbolism pieces. I got a lot of phone calls yesterday about, the position I took on the statue. I said, well, we got to get back to basics. And we're trying to work with our state legislature to override a veto by the governor. Now, this bill with his water bills, it passed through both houses. I mean, it sailed through basically unopposed. And go ahead, Andy.
All right, unanimous.
Unanimous.
Right,
No opposition. So we got a bill to help the city of Jackson that sailed through unanimously in both houses. Republicans, Democrats, white folks, black folks from all over the state identified the substance in this piece of legislation, and the governor vetoed it. And the reason I took the position I did when it comes to what we should be doing, we're trying to override the governor's veto. And we felt as though, even though it's a worthwhile endeavor about moving, about this whole deal about the monument, but I would rather deliver back to our people some legislation at the state level that's going to help them with their water bills versus polarize us. And as leaders, we shouldn't put ourselves on the opposite side of resources. So I told them, we need to just not even bring that up. We need to table it and talk about it. First and foremost, anytime you present something, there must be a plan. You don't just vote on something because the emotions say vote on it. The reason we just chose to exit the whole conversation is because when we do something like that, there must be a plan attached to it. How much is it going to cost to take the statue down. Who you going to give it to? What you going to put in return of the statue? How much is that going to cost? Where is the money going to come from? Who's going to pay for it? See, from our standpoint, when we vote on issues, we want to make sure that it's actually something that's going to happen. Because right now, if you're presented with something that's not a plan, it's just emotion. It's just ideas. If there's no money and a plan attached to it, it's just something that makes the news. And we don't feel as that's not the substantive stuff to deliver back to the citizens of Jackson. And that's why we took our position. We were already in the meeting 5.5 hours. And I said, hey, if y'all going to vote on this, I'm just going to go work on some other stuff. And so I left to go sit down and try to talk to some of these Republican state legislators about helping to override this veto. And I think those are the kinds of conversations we got to focus on in our city. Those are the kinds of things we got to focus on to move our state forward and our nation. As long as we continue to polarize ourselves, we can't communicate properly. And what are your thoughts about that, Ms. Lee?
I agree. We definitely don't need to go down the rabbit hole. But I know everyone is saying this is the time. You know, the momentum is now. So now would be the time, but we have more pressing issues that we need to focus on as well. So I can see both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I see the motivation towards it, but in this moment right here, we got to override this veto. Mm-hmm. Because we don't override this veto, some folks' water rates gonna increase.
Right.
That's the bottom line to it. Yeah. And my folks in my ward tell me, fix the problem. The symbolism and all that stuff is great and it feels good and it's emotional, all that. But at the end of the day, we get elected to fix problems. We get elected to deal with people who don't look like us, don't think like us, and don't believe like us, but still want to get something substantively done for the people who vote for us.
Right.
And that's where we are on that deal. And that's why we were focused on gerrymandering, because that precludes us from getting things done. You know, when you got an all Republican district over here and an all Democrat district over here, that doesn't vote well to delivering things. But when you balance these districts out, now whoever sits in the seat has a motivation to do something. Mm-hmm. And that's our focus, is trying to, we got 1 year left. We're in the home stretch of this term, and I don't know if these folks are going to bring me back or not. I really don't know. But I do know we got to get some more wins on the board. And those wins can't just consist of symbolism. They got the streets, drainage, sewer, police. Crimes at an all-time high. Yesterday, and what frustrated me also yesterday, Angelique, is that we're in a meeting. I'm trying to get more money to our essential workers who had to work during the pandemic, and trying to get them, because we gave money, a pay stipend or additional pay to police and fire. But those folks in dispatch, those folks out there handing out all those masks in those long food lines and all those giveaway lines where they had to come in contact with all the people in the city, those people didn't get anything. Mm-hmm. And that's what led to my the position I took on it. We're not going to start to do some of those things. What are we sitting here having these conversations for? And so that's why, we've been talking about this, and we got to continue to work hard to deliver better government to folks. And I'm hopeful for it. I'm really looking forward to the next council meeting, because I believe that now folks ready to get to work. Mm-hmm. Folks ready to get to work. So Angelique, this is your first time on the show in a long time by yourself. You've been here with other people, but we look forward to for you coming back and visit us on a regular basis and promoting some of these good Mississippi businesses.
I would definitely love to do that, Decatur. Thank you.
So you've spent a lot of time at the Capitol this year. And I ain't gonna just, ask you a lot of questions about your experience there. I know you're quarantining right now, but just overall, just on the surface level, what do you think the tone was up there at the Capitol this year?
Well, I saw a lot of division. Even just with safety measures with masks. You
Mhm.
see, the Republicans did not wear the masks, but faithfully the Democrats were. And
Mhm.
I'm in touch with a lot of legislators, and from what I've heard, 23 House members have tested positive. So this is a big deal. This was a Democratic hoax, but it's crossed party lines. So now I'm wanting to know, when are they going to start putting on masks? So it was a safety issue. Thankfully, I didn't have to go to the Capitol every day because, my boss is concerned about my safety as well. So I did a lot of lobbying over the phone, but when I did go to the Capitol, I was very cautious. But uh, there was so much excitement with this flag. It was a new energy in that Capitol, and we felt like we could finally get something done that you know our ancestors have had to live under this flag for
Mhm.
for generations, and so to see that come down, I mean, it was. Gosh, it meant so much. I was crying with my dad watching it. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
it's something we'll never forget. But now we have real issues that we need to get done because COVID-19 caused a lot of our issues to get swept under the rug, as well as the flag and the Black Lives Matter. So a lot of the real issues, such as teacher pay and money that was going to fund K-12 and higher ed, some of them got cut. So we want to make sure that those issues are still important and still on legislators' minds.
Mhm. You're totally right. And we got to get back to basics and get back to doing the things that substantively move our city forward and our state forward. And that's what we got to do. We have to work on those things that solve our problems. Because if we just focus on the simple, let's celebrate the flag coming down. Let's celebrate that. And let's now focus on other things substantively that we can get done together. Because there's enough good folks out there, good
Mhm.
white folks, good black folks, good Democrats, good Republicans out there that really want to move this state forward. And we're going to be calling on our state government when they come back in session in October. Pick one issue. And we got many issues,
Mhm.
whether it be infrastructure, schools, prison reform. Pick one issue and let's just wrestle that joker down. Because if we can do that, if we can pick one issue that we can move on, we can deliver something substantive back to folks. And that's what I'm asking for all of our leadership at the local level, our county, our state and federal. Let's not finish the year off without tackling one of our major issues so we can all say we put that to bed, whichever one it is. I'm a big fan of education.
Mhm.
Because even now with our children going back to school, we have to get our education system. I don't feel as confident as I should. Yesterday we had a school board confirmation going on in the meeting, and I'm hopeful by our conversation that everything will be right going back to school, but I'm just not totally sure at this point. I'm just hopeful, and we're a month out, and I want to be sure.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're pushing on now, is to give the people the assurance necessary for them to be confident in sending their children back to school. Because there's two things that's got to happen, Angelique. First off, the children got to be safe.
Yeah.
First and foremost, they got to be safe. And secondly, they got to learn.
Right.
And the goal that I expressed to Dr. Sivak yesterday, and he goes back to that school board, is that our children got to be safe.
Right.
And they got to learn. So the goal is not just to send them through a rubric where they can get on the bus, get off the bus, switch classes. No, they got to have enough time in that classroom where they can settle down and that magical thing called teaching and learning can happen.
Right.
That's, what I'm asking for is for those educators to be given the tools they need in order so our children can learn. Some are progressing, but the vast majority are going to need a lot of help.
Right.
Folks are on the fence, between teeter-tottering with success and failure, and coronavirus took them out of school for 2 additional months. They're going to need extra help to actually move forward. The superintendent is supposed to be releasing a plan on the 17th. I say we need to not open up schools to after Labor Day.
I agree. I just don't think we're ready to keep there. And then I really need to see a plan that includes, I want sanitizing stations upon every entry. I want a questionnaire every week. Have you traveled? Have you been around COVID? Because it's so fluid. It changes day to day. And it's just going to be a domino effect. One kid, another kid, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks until, our whole staff, bus drivers, everyone is infected. So this is a big, big issue. And the PPE equipment is so costly for these schools. And where are they going to get the money? So it's a tough situation. It's tough.
You're right. And that's what we're focused on now. We're pushing to push back the opening of school until after Labor Day. They present these plans in mid-July. They have to have a dry run. You can't present a plan in the mid-July and then come back 2 weeks later and start school. Right. We must, like she said, take it seriously and actually go through these plans to make sure that everybody knows exactly what they're doing, how to do what they're doing, so that it's practicing. A lot of these folks in education have been there for 20 years. They've been doing the same thing the same way. And if you want to come in and do something different, it's going to take some adjusting.
Yeah.
And it must take practice. And I want everybody tested. I want every administrator tested off the top. Come in, everybody get tested. Preferably, I like students get tested. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we can do that or not, because we got to keep the teachers safe too.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to be as safe as possible. And I know testing children, you got to get the parents' permission and all that. But I think that parents should want their children tested. And I believe every child in Mississippi, if we're serious about this thing. Now, we've been throwing money at businesses, but what we're asking for is to throw money at the problem. I know businesses are affected, but the problem.
Do it the safest possible. If it consists of testing every week, we have to do it. I just wonder where we're going to get the money when we don't even have the money for classroom equipment, so it's just, that's a big concern. But my number one concern is the safety of everyone involved.
Mm-hmm. You're totally right, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all welcome to call-in number 601-948-5950. We want to hear from you. Subject today, we're talking about symbols over substance and moving towards getting some of these major problems taken care of inside of our city and our state. You can call in again, and the call-in number is 601-948-5950 or 601-948-5835. We appreciate call back in. You hung up too quick. But yeah, that's what we're talking about today, ladies and gentlemen, is symbols over substance. And the major substance we want to push for right now is hello, caller. Welcome to the show. What's your question or comment? Turn your radio down, caller. Turn your radio down, caller.
Hello?
You live on there. What's your question or comment?
I understand what you think about the president saying he's not going to fund this public school if the children don't go back. He's going to hold the money back. I think you're talking something like about $13 billion. He's going to hold the money back if the children don't return back to school. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't know what goes in. I appreciate it, brother. The president saying he's going to hold the money back. Well, first off, Congress is in charge of the money. And I would like to see what Congress is going to do in relation to that. All government has checks and balances unto it. And I don't know what whatever party you may subscribe to, these Republican districts need money too. And I don't see, these federal legislators, Democrat or Republican, not getting money back to their school districts. So in this day and age, well, first off, in this day and age, we couldn't just take everything to heart. A lot of these folks are narcissists. And just because people say some things don't mean they can do some things. And or don't mean it's even practical. So I don't believe that there are too many Republicans that are going to back not sending education money back to their states in an election year when they're all up for election. Well, half of them are for election right now in the state House of Representatives and the state Senate. So, again, we have to go back and pull our civics books out, ladies and gentlemen. And there's a word called bloviation. Bloviation is the art of political speech while saying nothing. And we must guard ourselves against these bloviator type people. We got some on the Democrat and Republicans. I'm not just talking about the president. And really use common sense and say, well, that's not how civics work. That's not how the process works. So educate yourself on the process. There's a show on 94 when it comes on Tuesday nights called Civics 101 with Mr. Sherry Jones. Take a listen to Civics 101 and really identify if some of these things are possible or practical. Some things just give you a jar. They are meant to stoke your emotions and distract you. So that's what we got to guard against is the distractions that are out there. And if he tries to hold back money, we just push back. We push back. My initial pushback was if the federal government pushes back money, that means at the local level, we're going to have to raise taxes to pay for school. So if we have to do a tug of war between school. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. What's your question or comment?
Good evening. My question, thank you for the call, taking my call. My question is, you were saying symbolism over substance, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That typically gets lost in the message, not what you're saying, but like you were saying in politics. But my comment, our question would be three things. Of course, we're trying to get funding for free testing to be, because it ended, the president had put a halt to it at the end of June for all schools and everything. So how can we work on getting that? And why can't we work on requesting additional federal funding to help students, teachers, and staff safely return to school, as well as those district office personnel, and also provide public health preparation during this pandemic? If we get with our city council, our legislators, as a state, do you think that that's something that we could do to impact what we need to have happen in Jackson?
I appreciate this, sir. And you raised some very valid points, and I appreciate that. And that's why we're asking that we push back. Back in the day, they used to go back. Nobody went to school before Labor Day. Back in the day. So it's something we can do again. And I believe in a moment like this, we have to make sure that we have the proper preparations, the proper PPE, and those kinds of things in place. And that's why we're asking that we push the start of school back until after Labor Day, until every school has the resources on hand, at least for the first month, with a plan to resupply each school before those resources run out, whether it be masks, whether it be, hand washing station, just the different resources that school need. We need the actual physical things in place prior to school starting. We need people practiced up on the new rules and regulation. Some people are looking at distance learning. Well, that means that those children are going to have to be prepared to stay home. And if they need someone to stay home with them, it's going to cause some issues. What are your thoughts on that, Ms. Lee?
Well, from the question from the caller, my reaction to that is about the economy and not about these children. And staff members, bus drivers, cafeteria workers, the janitorial service. I'm worried about everyone in between. So he's worried. The president, I feel, is worried about the economy failing because we're going to have to stay home with our children if they're home. And my priority is not the economy, because I'm a mother. My priority is my children. So I disagree with the president. So I don't care what he proposes. I'm going to do what I feel is best for my child when it's time to return on August the 11th. I'm going to make a decision on my own.
You're totally right. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. What's your question? Comment? How you doing?
Hey, Micheal.
Yep.
Do you think there's going to be a push to change the name of the city of Jackson, since it was named after Andrew Jackson and his statue has been relocated? I ain't gonna be listening.
I appreciate that. So there is a push to do that. The mayor wants to reclaim the name of the city and for another name. And again, for me, with all the city's issues that are out there, with all of the real tough issues that we have in place, I just believe that we got some tougher issues to fight. And while that's an admirable pursuit, I have to prioritize what I pursue. And for me, I got folks sewer backing up in their backyards. I got sinkholes that you can walk in. I crawled off in one yesterday. Literally crawled off in it. People still driving on top of it, but I was able to crawl up under it. And for me, that's just not my priority. Different people have different priorities. Reclaiming a name in the city is just not, my priority at this point. And I think it's something to be vetted out. It's something that you don't just do it. I didn't believe you just take the monument down. I believe that we should actually figure out how much it's going to cost to take it down. Who are you going to give it to? You should figure out how much it's going to cost to transport it to the next location. How much is it going to cost to build a new monument for whoever? I think that you should involve the community in that process. I don't think you should just do it. So, I've been called every name under the sun, but I'm to a point in my political career now that I can make a decision and not really worry about what other folks think about it. Because it's a right and a wrong way to do everything. And while the pursuit may be a decent pursuit, it needs to be done the right way. You don't just do it. There should be a way to weave in history, not just erase and erect. It should be a weaving in, because the truth be told, all of it's our history. We should be able to weave it in, put some things in a museum, but do it in a dignified way, because all you're going to do is continue to polarize people when we should be trying to bring people together. So at this point, if we were at a different point in our nation, my pursuit may be different. But at this juncture, we need to be bringing people together. And it's going to take everybody to move Jackson forward. It's going to take Democrats, Republicans, white folks, black folks to move this city and this state forward. And I think that the flag was enough for right now. Let's celebrate that, but get back to the things we agree on. But if we keep just every week, every month doing something that totally polarizes everybody, we don't get anything done. We just argue. And so that's where I am on all those maneuvers, is that we got to work together. And that doesn't create a situation where working together happens. Folks just go to their corner and come out fighting. And, what are your thoughts, Angelique?
Well, I agree.
And you're welcome to disagree now. It's all good.
Big endeavor. Is a lot of division. And right now, I agree. We need to our state, our city, our capital city. We need to be bringing resources back to this city. We need to be making Jackson the best that it can be and not get bogged down in those rabbit holes. Right now, we need to be bringing money, infrastructure, all kind of stuff. That's what we need to be worried about.
Okay. Let me catch this caller. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. Oh, call back, caller. I think we got disconnected, bro. I think he called in a few minutes ago, but yeah, call back, caller. We can get you back on the line here. But and that's our goal. It's not that some of these pursuits are not worthy or not admirable to pursue, but for me, I got over 400 and some family members live in Jackson, and they want work done in the area. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. What's your question or comment?
Yes, thank you. It's me again. I'm sorry. I had to call back when you said what you said about the statue and working together. What can we do as a city to come together as far as the city council, the legislators? Because right now we're looking, I implore the Black Lives Matter. I understand that. I support it. But at the same time, it's more than just racism, not just white against black. And I think that's what we're kind of turning that into. And I know that the mayor is trying to do several things, but right now, as you said, you want to take things slowly right now. We've done the flag, but also that's still not going to erase the hate that's going on worldwide in the state of Mississippi or in Jackson. Mm-hmm. So what can we do? We always have these summits and things coming to Jackson, but it seems like we never get to a resolution. Can you kind of speak on that just a little bit? Thank you.
I appreciate it, brother. And I appreciate those comments. Yeah. And that's what it's going to take leadership focused on. Leadership that rallies people around a common cause, rallies folks around their own common interest. And, you know, when I talked earlier about narcissism, are we doing things to make the news, or are we doing things to make change? You know, and we can do both, but we have to be able to get everybody at the table. And I was taught in leadership is that you never put yourself on the opposite side of your resources as the leader. The pursuits that the people are pursuing, that's great. You know, there's plenty of people that can push for some of these things, but we have to, as leadership, from my standpoint, we have to always be focused on resources and the resolution to our problems. And right now, we have to get away from some of these polarizing things just to get things done, because people are shutting down. And these are the same people that we need to vote to override the governor's veto. I just think the timing in leadership, you have to choose the timing is important. While it may be the political winds of change, you move the flag, now you move different things. But at this moment, while we remove the flag, one of the issues that came around that dovetail right behind it was something to help Jackson's water system. So, we have to build on that, not take away from it. And so that's why I feel like we can get to some action if we can do less polarizing issues. I just think there's some ground we need to rebuild, and we need to rebuild trust. We need to rebuild relationships, because that's how I've always got stuff done. I worked with Republicans my whole life, and I with respect and folks being able to shake your hand and look you in the eye and trust what you say, and rallying folks around a common cause has always worked for me. What about you, Angelique?
Well, in regards to your question, we do have summits and all kinds of things, but we need to find commonalities that all rally, such as education, children. I mean, these are the things that unite us, and we hopefully, COVID should be a reason why we would rally, but unfortunately, it has become a race thing and a class issue now. So, but we have to find our commonalities and join forces under those commonalities, to try to gain racial healing. Instead of trying to look for all these divisive things that are going to separate our state, we have to make that bridge.
Mm-hmm. And ladies and gentlemen, the calling number is 601-948-5950. That's 601-948-5950. We're talking about symbolism versus substance. And that's the topic of our show tonight. We're joined with Miss Angelique Lee. She graced us with her time and her wisdom today to chime in. Mac has been taking care of his family. He has some elderly family members that he takes direct care of inside of his home. And we've been trying to shelter him in place as much as possible so he don't bring anything back home to his Uncle Fred. And so hats off to him. And even being in our generation, you don't have that many folks taking care of senior citizens in their home. So, hats off to him and his wife for doing that. And they've been doing that the whole time they've been married. So hats off to them and their hard work and dedication. And we're talking about substance. And one of the biggest issues that we're pushing for right now is to push back the start of school to after Labor Day till the plan can be dry run through the schools. Everybody understands how it's going to work. And then family can make preparations. These folks are going to need to do distance learning. They're going to need to prepare those things.
Right. They require them wearing a mask. Who they might not have money to purchase. That's a big expense. We're 180 days. So something as simple as that. We have to think of everyone and how it's going to affect them if they have to bear the burden of that cost.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so, and we're asking everyone to get several masks. If you've been wearing the same mask since coronavirus started, that mask needs some help too. Now there's several types of masks out there. Now, the KN95 or N95 masks are the only ones that block two-way transmission. The others block one-way transmission. So if you can get your hands on some of these, that's going to be vitally important to you moving forward. And please try to take care of yourself. We say, either clean your mask, send it through him. We say either clean your mask or get several masks. Don't throw them away because I'm working on a recycling program to recycle the mask for future use. Did the call go through, Henry? Okay, call back in. Call it. We have a little technical difficulties here. Okay, here we go. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. What's your question or comment?
Yes, sir. I want to know, are the private schools going back to school in August?
As of right now, several of them are and several of them are not. It's a mixed bag between what their decisions are that they're making.
Because that's a very difficult thing if they trying to make the kids go back to school. That don't make sense right now. And so you guys need to try to do all you can to stop it.
Yeah, at this point, we're going to have to delay it. We're proposing to delay it until we can really have a plan in place where everybody can be practiced into the plan. And so that's where we are right now, bro.
Right. Okay. Keep up good work. Don't let them start school no time soon.
Okay, bro. As we say all the time on the show, ladies and gentlemen, people are judged on how you treat your seniors and how you treat your children. Everybody in between can pretty much work for yourself, but the children can only follow instructions. And so, we have to make sure that we can trust, because what we don't know, and this is me speaking as an elected official, what's going to happen when these children start getting sick? What's going to happen when these children die? What's going to happen? And it's just the nuts and bolts of it, lady. What's going to happen? Beyond that, who's responsible? Is it the fault of the school district? Who's gonna pay those lawsuits? All this. Who gonna have to do all this stuff? And so we got to really make sure that we make good decisions and govern. And that's why I talk about governing so much, ladies and gentlemen, is that we're gonna have to govern and work through these issues and make sure we do what's necessary to do it properly. Let me catch this caller. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. What's your question or comment?
Yeah,
Sam, how you doing?
I'm doing well, brother. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good. I'd like to ask, what's your opinion on Kanye West coming out running for president? Do you think that was some kind of plot, him and Trump get together just to get some extra black votes, or what do you think?
Okay, let me check on that, brother. We'll start. Angelique, what's your thoughts about that?
Just my opinion, I think it's a ploy to start black vote. It's a ploy to take votes away from Biden, and he's gonna get the millennials. He'll get that young generation. He'll get that 18 to 35, and that's a big group. So I think it's a diversion. I think it's a ploy, for Trump.
I don't, I think it's pretty much a diversion there, publicity type thing. Even legally, in order to get on the ballot in these states, it is a large lift, even to get on the ballot at this point. There's a process in place. So that's why I tell folks, again, you got to look and separate this narcissistic, attention grabbing kind of activity, because civics tells me that you have to get a certain number of signatures by a certain date in each congressional district in the state of Mississippi to even get on the ballot. And then that deadline, I think, is passed to even go through that process. So again, people say stuff, and I believe Kanye West is a narcissist too. And partially, his business is about getting attention. So he may not be a narcissist, he's a businessman. It boosts his profile up. Trump did it for several years until he actually went through the process to get on the ballot. So, but don't let those things distract you. And that's why we have to stay focused on our issues. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. What's your question or comment?
Hey, Councilman Stamps, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
All right. I wanted to make a comment about the students returning back to school.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
I don't think it's time. I work for the district.
Mm-hmm.
When you have some students, parents that will be caring enough to make sure that their child keep the mask on and do what they're supposed to do, you got to worry about the ones that parents not concerned.
Mm-hmm.
If you see the students out now not wearing a mask in the store, what do we think gonna happen when school starts?
Mm-hmm.
So then they're gonna put, and then if one of them come to school with it and give it to the other students, where the CDC is saying, okay, it's not staying in the children.
Mm-hmm.
But what about if they take it home to their parents?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a revolving door.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that all parents need to take it serious.
Mm-hmm.
Not just some, but everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's bad enough that the city was opened back, where the state was opened back up too soon.
Mm-hmm.
So you have those that are concerned, and you have those that have the attitude that I don't care.
Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate it, ma'am. Thanks for your call.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And you're totally right. These children, we're gonna need a school full of masks every day, because we know children, they can't even keep a pencil and come back the next day with the same pencil, much less keep a mask. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. What's your question or comment?
Hey, it's Sam.
Yeah.
I think you as a council, not only you as a council, but all the city councils should make sure that. I mean, it probably left up to governor to open the school back up, but all parents that got kids and the city councilman should make sure that when the schools open back up, that they are open up safety.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the Republicans, especially like Reed, they want to follow Trump action. We see what this has led to when they open up the business back too soon. Look what happened down in Florida. Although the virus is skyrocketing down in Florida because they want to open back up and disregard some of the safety that they had in place. But our children is the most important thing, that they are young and they can't help themselves, but the parents got to help themselves to make sure that when they open the school back up, that it got to be safe, because these are our children. And because Trump is more concerned about getting the economy going back because he want to get reelected, this is something we got to deal with, because these are our children here, and they are more concerned about money. We cannot let money be the top priority for our children. So our parents got to make sure that we have a good safety plan when the school open back up. Because we see now most Black are affected by this virus. And if they open the school back up too soon without no safety, most Black young children can be infected by this virus. So let's fight this thing, because these are our children. That's all I have to say.
Thanks a lot, bro. We appreciate it. And we're going to end the callers right there, ladies and gentlemen. We got a few minutes left to go on the show. We got our new co-host in today. We won't let her finish off some thoughts she got on her head before we get off the air. Angelique, I yield to you.
Well, before we go out, I wanted to ask you a question. Virtual, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. It's a holistic effort. It would definitely take, the parents partaking in it 100% as well. But it can work. But we, of course, will have the issue of why you should have won PSC commissioner, broadband in our rural areas. So it's not enough for the legislature to make sure everyone has a laptop or a device. They need the access to it. So that's unfortunately, might not be something Jackson has a problem with, but all over the state, we will have students that won't be able to do that. So it's a big issue, and definitely, safety and the ability for every child to get access to learning is our priority.
Well, you're totally right. We appreciate you for taking time out your busy schedule. You're handling things. A mom, also still working at the state level with our learning system at the state level. So we appreciate you for taking time out to spend with us, lending us your wisdom, your talents, and your skills to help us out. We appreciate everybody who helps us out, and those who push against us, because it makes us better. And I want to thank everybody. First and foremost, I want to thank our good brother over at Micheal Jordan Transportation Service. Let me pull this picture up for his brother. Let me get this together here. Because this brother right here, I got next week on the show, we're going to have Mr. Micheal Jordan. Micheal Jordan Transportation Services primarily services as a non-emergency transportation service. A service that specializes in transporting senior citizens and individuals who are mobility and developmentally challenged to their appointments. In addition, we are a company that is also available to transport groups on trips for fun and relaxation that not only include mobility and developmentally challenged, but any small groups. We realize with the coronavirus and the COVID-19 that in the shelter-in-place order being lifted, people will want to get out and relax their minds and just have fun. Nothing like a short trip to relax you. We can transport at least 10 in order to ensure social distancing. Please go to the website at www.mjstransportation1.com for all of your transportation needs. We appreciate him next week we'll have him on the show. And when you hear his story right there at Maple Street in Palmyra, and what he's doing and where he came from and where his journey, he left right there on Maple Street, ended up working in the Pentagon in the military, and come back home a few years ago and reinvested in his neighborhood, in his block. Talking about buy back the block. Definitely putting things in place for the next generation and moving our community forward. Yeah.
I just, a lot of our legislators have tested positive for COVID. So I just want to make do a prayer call and make sure we keep them uplifted in prayer.
Oh my God, you're totally right. You know, the Brown family, Lieutenant Governor, Speaker of the House, and all those brothers and sisters up there. I mean, please keep them in your prayers because this thing is real. And the next step behind these children, we got to keep these children safe because a lot of our children are being raised by grandparents. So when they go to school, get the virus, who do you think they bring it home to? And if they're already being raised by grandparents, what's going to happen when grandmama gets sick? Who going to raise that child, God forbid, something happened to Big Mama because of the virus? So again, it's serious. It has multiple layers to it. And we have to make sure if we ever got something right, we got to make sure we get this right. If we ever got anything right, this next 3 months of decision making in the leadership of the state of Mississippi is literally going to determine our future. And we got to get this right. It's vitally important. And as we say, everybody, every week, never let anybody put you in a position where you don't love your own people. Because when you hate your own people, you're part of the very oppression we're trying to lift ourselves out of. I love you, Jackson. I love you, Mississippi. Tune in next week because we're going to have Mr. Michael Jordan from Michael Jordan Transportation Service. We're going to have Miss Angelique Lee back in the studio next week, or she's going to be virtual next week. And we appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you. God bless. Godspeed. Handyman, take us out of here. Another week in the books, y'all. It's been a heck of a show, but I thank y'all. Thanks so much, Angelique. We appreciate you, dear. All right, we'll see y'all next week.